The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you. Oh, one day the same shall never cease to happen in Africa. My people will say that if there's life, we'll definitely meet again. And whatever that you bury, no matter how it is, will always come out. We have been singing some songs for a very long time, but now when we connect the dots, nobody will tell us that what we have been thinking is actually what is happening underground, because looking at the evidence that and the things that are popping up, nobody will tell you that all that we have been saying is what it is. A group of people called Human Rights Watch accuse our all in all, the savior, the protector, the unifier, the messiah, the king of kings, the most loved, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, of unaliving over 1,000 people in Burkina Faso. According to them, a number of people were unalived, but the territorial people only took just a small portion. But the army of Burkina Faso unalived the greater portion of people, and for that matter, they need to be brought before the international community for war crimes against humanity. Now, the shocking thing that is coming out is these people openly came out. One of them came out and appreciated the work of these human rights. How? Why will the Human Rights Watch be praised for the things that they've said concerning our all in all, the savior, the protector, the unifier, the messiah, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, at this crucial time? One thing that we need to understand as Africans is that these people never act in isolation. And look at what they claim they use to gather their intelligence. AI tool. Amazing. So these people will always go to any length to cause destabilization on any government that isn't serving their interests. This is the script they have been writing for all the leaders that they took out. Is it Thomas Sankara? Is it Dr. Kwame Nkrumah? Is it Muammar Gaddafi? All our leaders that we have seen these people take out, they use the same script, blackmailing, propaganda, saying things that are not true about the leader. And before, when they do that, the youth always rise up against these leaders. But now we've seen that whatever tactics they use isn't helping them. They started by using Michael Langley, accusing Captain Ibrahim Traoré of using the gold in Burkina Faso to enrich himself or to protect himself, only for the youth of Africa, both in Africa and in the diaspora, to rise up against them. So now if they come back with another narrative telling us that he is unaliving the people, won't you and I believe? So this is what they are trying to do, but this time round, the African is much awoken because we are seeing the same script that they have been writing.
Listen to Wassim Nasser, who is the media spokesperson for a terror group called Janim. He himself says that this terror group thanks Human Rights Watch, which has just released a deceitful report, a rag against Burkina Faso. Listen.
Then the survivors, as in the videos we saw before, but especially thank the local and international media, humanitarian organizations, and at their forefront, Human Rights Watch by name, for seeking the truth.
That is rather surprising, huh? That a jihadist group thanks the media and Human Rights Watch.
Exactly. So it's something unprecedented that we're seeing. It's a reversal, let's say, of values of the situation.
If you didn't hear well, listen again. The spokesperson of the JNIM, a terror group, says that the terror groups thank Human Rights Watch, which dared to equate a dignified state with terror groups. It means what it means. They are together. It's an admission of collaboration.
Everything is clear. There is nothing more to add.
Family, I will leave you a video and you will understand why our AAS authorities have expelled many human rights organizations from our countries. In reality, all these organizations are in contact with the terrorists. They are the ones supplying the terrorists. The so-called human rights organization that accuses our fighting forces of having massacred civilians there, you will see how the terrorists are thanking them for their work on their side. So by working with these terrorists, now they are forced, since they are terrorists, they are forced to come and accuse our army that is fighting their terrorist friends. They put the video. It happened on France 24, where the organization, the the leaders of the Terror in question were thanking Human Cross, or what is it, Human Rights or what? The crappy organization that accuses our fighting forces. Watch this video. You will understand, and you will understand why. In the AIS, our authorities decided to say no, to declare persona non grata many so-called human rights organizations that supply the terror. Watch this video until the end, you will understand.
Than the survivors, as in the videos we saw before, but especially thank the local and international media, humanitarian organizations, and at their forefront, Human Rights Watch by name, for seeking the truth.
That is rather surprising, huh? That a jihadist group thanks the media and Human Rights Watch.
Exactly. So it's something unprecedented that we see. It's a reversal, let's say, of values or the situation, and not to speak of oneself, and to remind that we directly question the jihadists and the jihadist leaders about massacres they have committed, like, for example, in Ansongo in Mali or in Solhan in Burkina Faso.
This report to designate terrorist groups. This report speaks of Ixtli's armed groups, but they put, perhaps it's done on purpose, the word terrorist, while that is their real name. We simply say Ixtli's armed groups, but we never say that they are terrorist groups, and to designate our volunteers for the defense of the homeland, who are being regularly integrated into the army. They speak of allied militias. Is this way of designating the different parties done by design? Martin Sawadogo perfectly. It's done by design, because, in fact, one must interrogate history every time, and they always proceed in the same way. And, as I said earlier, they always act as an organized gang, so, in the first instance, they want to remove all credibility from the sovereignist government, and, in a second instance, they regularly and methodically try to stage terrorist groups, because simply, these terrorist groups serve their design. They say that to write is to betray oneself. Even before the idea of a report came to their minds, they already had an objective, and this objective, unfortunately, Africans and black people in general have not yet understood it. This objective is always a racist calling, depending on whether it's a black person who performed an act or another race. The interpretation is totally different. Since the slavery of black people that they instituted, they had even said that black people were a commodity, a commercial good. Reason why, when the UN was asked to vote to recognize slavery as being a crime against humanity, the same countries to which George Soros belongs, such as Israel, totally refused. So their goal first, and at all times, it is to dominate black people and other racists. They are racist supremacists, that they must be called out like that. And then the work method, what is it? There is a document called the Charter of Imperialism. It's clear. Even if some people say it's not an official document, one just needs to read it and see how it proceeds. Any person who has a sovereignist will any person who enlightens Africans on rights and on the harms of certain organizations are automatically and systematically considered as being enemies. So it is also necessary that Africans face the facts to know that this world, we must be united first as a race, and be united as Africans and united as Burkinabes, because they will always go through elements where we can be divided. For example, by labeling terrorists as Ixtli's armed groups, if you don't pay attention immediately, you can cast reproach. It's all an illusion, while whether it be the different systems of power, that is to say, religion, politics, economy, education, every time they always find people to misinterpret the texts. But who will especially serve their purpose? And they will present them under a certain name. And if you don't pay attention, if you are not attentive, you will divide yourselves every time. Immediately people can say, Islam, is a religion that supports tourists, which is completely false, because sometimes they have taken out of the books Holy of Islam verses out of context, and a certain ideology has been cultivated among people who do not have an advanced level of reflection, to tell them this is what Islam says, and here we are financing so that you wage a war, which is completely unjustified. This is where everyone's intervention is requested. It is up to, for example, those who have understood the religious idea, to say that these people are not Islamists. But they are people who have gone astray and who have misinterpreted. Terrorists who have interpreted by design and who have given bad interpretations of certain excerpts from the holy books. So I think that these events must challenge us and invite us to cohesion, to tighten our ranks on all levels, because it is only the beginning of the beginning. Bukalin, earlier, you were talking about people who may have been probably contacted for the writing or to collect data for this report. In the Japanese air, they sometimes call them contributors, and among these contributors, there are names that have regularly come up, like the French journalist and researcher Wassim Nasser, and then there is also Newton Ahmed Bari, whose name has come up, who are part of the contributors. Is the credibility of these people today called into question in relation to their recent or distant history, or in relation to possible collusion with terrorist forces? There is no debate on the matter. Newton Ahmed Bari, an arrest warrant has been issued by the Burkinabe state against a certain number of Burkinabes, including Newton Ahmed Bari, for acts of terrorism. So that is known. And Wassim Nasser, it's the same. And here it is not only the state of Burkina Faso. The three countries of the U.S. Burkina, Mali and Niger, have issued an arrest warrant against Wassim Nasser, precisely for these subversive activities towards these three countries, who presents himself as a journalist specializing in terrorist movements, while he himself, in truth, is nothing more than a communicator for the terrorists. Oh yes, he is a communicator for the terrorists. Wassim Nasser, not long ago, I think it was only a few weeks ago, there was a commission at the level of the French National Assembly which heard the President of France, Médias Monde, which includes RFI and France 24 to precisely question the fact that the money of the French taxpayer is being used to spread terrorist ideology. And Wassim Nasser is precisely the journalist who is being questioned, because it is he who has these interviews, so that it's not me saying it. Yes, it's a parliamentary commission of inquiry, French on the management of French public broadcasting. Many people have appeared there. And before this commission, the President of France, Médias Monde, was heard during her hearing. She was asked the question. The deputy asked her the question about the reality of the relations between Wassim Nasser and the terrorist group, given that the latter was very much in contact with them, and sometimes questioned the position official of the French state by putting them in contradiction with what the terrorists were saying. Absolutely. And the other information. Perhaps for those who haven't followed this news, the President of France, Médias Monde, faced with a number of questions. The question could not find an answer, and finally, what did she say to be able to back out? It's that she will go in and send the answers in writing and under sealed cover, which, according to her,
they are not changing their tactics, always using the same thing for all the leaders. And it's just a few people who still believe in these people. And they claim that these our leaders must go back to democratic rule. And we ask them, what is democratic rule? And who is a democratic leader? The people that are doing things and making sure that the international law, when it comes to them, doesn't apply to them, moving away from UN and whatever to form their own whereby they can decide what should be done. without any questioning? Is this what we call democratic leaders? This is unbelievable that at this time, we are having these people doing things in this information age right before our eyes. Now, things are not hiding anymore. And we are seeing how these people are even praising each other. That should tell us clearly that these people are working hand in hand. Why should we sit here and then other people will come into the continent to be telling us what they think is right to be done here in this 21st century, while they are the same people that are preaching sovereignty? So what do they mean by sovereignty if Africans do not have the right to determine the person who leads them? When we put this thing aside, the recent speech that the EU Commissioner Ursula von der Leyen gave, telling us about what is happening, and Lebanon is a sovereign state. What about Niger? Just because they are feeling the heat, she went ahead to tell us the amount of money they have spent on importation of fuel, over 22 billion euros on importation of fuel alone. And for that matter, they are talking about them accepting even things that before, if all were well for them, they wouldn't have even pushed for. So these people always go after the things that have their interest, because the leaders in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso aren't serving their interests. They must do everything possible in their power to make sure they move out so we can have leaders that will serve their interests. And that is why always I'll tell you, as Africans, any leader in our continent that we see singing the songs of Pan-Africanism and claiming they're fighting for the African and the continent, and these people are not after them, you and I should understand where they belong, that they serve the interests of these people. Like the president of Sierra Leone, the ECOWAS chairperson, rightfully said that they protect the borders instead of protecting the people. The borders represent these same people that always come into the continent to make sure that you, the African, never benefits from anything. Forget about the human rights speeches that they give. There are people who are dropping bombs on children in Iran. They are the same people that recently they did the same thing in Lebanon. Yet, where is this same Human Rights Watch that will never come out to tell the whole world that these people are committing the same crimes that they claim the leaders in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are doing? Like Captain Ibrahim Traoré said, their satellites can tell the number of people that died, who did them, yet they can never use the same satellites to tell us who is doing the sponsoring, how these people are getting the equipment they are using, and how they are feeding themselves, the motorbike, the Toyota, and all the equipment. We have seen how biased these people are. Whenever it is Africa, these people are quick in acting, making it look as if they are here to protect us. None of them, like Captain Ibrahim Traoré said, even the NGOs. These were the same people they used to take out Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. So we need to be very careful. We, the youth in Africa, this is information age, and we need to watch these people closely and let us understand that there's nobody that can ever come here to protect us or save us if we ourselves are not ready to fight for the total liberation of ourselves. A borrowed garment is something that will not keep you warm. We must be ready to fight for our total liberation, and that is sovereignty. If we don't control our resources, you and I should understand that we are still slaves, because political independence without economic independence is meaningless, just as Dr. Kwame Nkrumah told us. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we'll make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world. In Africa, West Africa, and in Burkina Faso.